Hi there. During this lesson, we're going to look at some of the best ways to give good answers to typical interview questions. Now let's take a look at an interview between the interviewer, John, and the interviewer, who is me.
Hello, pleased to meet you.
Hello, pleased to meet you too.
Thanks for coming to this interview.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. At this point, the interviewer will probably give you some information about the company and the job role. After the interview has finished speaking, feel free to ask some questions about the company and anything else you would like to know about the job role. Then, at this point, the interviewer will begin to ask the interviewee a series of questions. So let's begin.
So, what are you doing presently?
Well, at the moment, I'm working for an electronics manufacturer as a project manager, and I've been there for about 2.5 years.
Okay, and could you tell me why you applied for this position?
I'm actually quite happy in my present job. However, I'd like to look for a new challenge and the possibility to develop my career further with a solid and dynamic company like yours.
Why did you leave your last job?
Here, there could be many different reasons why you left your last job. So here are a few examples. The company was having financial problems. Therefore, unfortunately, I had to leave them. Another alternative answer could be the following. The company transferred their office overseas, so unfortunately we were all made redundant. And another answer could be the following. After having worked there for 3 years, I found myself in a stagnant situation, in which it wasn't possible for my career to develop any further within the same company. And as I was looking for a new challenge, I didn't want my lack of satisfaction to have a negative impact on the job I was doing for that company.
How many hours do you normally work?
Well, it all depends on how much work there is to do and on the deadlines. However, when there's an emergency, I'm willing to stay in the office to work some overtime. I know that customer satisfaction is an important priority.
What do people most often criticize about you?
To be honest, I don't get criticized often, but I am open to professional growth and I'm always looking for the opportunity to improve.
Tell me more about yourself, your hobbies and your free time.
Here it's important to make yourself seem as interesting as possible and original. So you need to avoid talking about a normal hobby which everyone else does. And you should try to use as many adverbs and adjectives to enrich in whatever you say. Whenever I can, I like to go trekking up in the mountains at weekends, and in the winter I often go hiking with snowshoes, which is quite tough but great fun. I'm a big fan of French movies, and my favourite actor is Jean Reno, especially when he was in Lyon. I also have a great passion for street photography. In fact, I spend most Sunday mornings taking in abstract details of buildings as well as spontaneous expressions of people around town. Last but not least, I really enjoy playing chess, as I find it incredibly tactical and challenging.
What are your 3 greatest strengths?
Here are some different possible ways to explain what you're good at and what your strong points are. I have the ability to work independently. I'm considered to be a fast learner. I really enjoy team collaboration. I see myself as a natural team leader. I have a great deal of enthusiasm and energy. My ability to identify and resolve problems is one of my strongest points. My colleagues and friends say that I have a dynamic personality. I consider myself to be an innovative and analytical thinker. I've been told that my organizational skills are highly appreciated. I always pay close attention to fine detail. I'm able to give inspiration to colleagues around me. I can handle stressful situations, tight deadlines, and keep everything under control.
Tell me about 3 weaknesses you have.
Here are some different possible ways to explain what you're not good at and what your weak points are, but in a positive way. Sometimes I find myself impatient for results. I don't like when time is wasted unnecessarily. I can also become slightly frustrated at the beginning of a new job due to the fact that I might be faced with some aspects which I haven't faced before. My boss often tells me that I'm too much of a perfectionist, but that's because I'm never satisfied until I've obtained the best possible results in the least amount of time. What else can I say? I don't get too excited about Monday mornings. The last statement is obviously ironic, so you need to say it with a smile on your face.
How would you describe yourself?
I consider myself to be an outgoing and positive person with a determined character.
What do you expect from this position?
I expect it to be an interesting challenge which will allow me to gain more valuable experience for my career.
What qualities do you think you possess that makes you suitable for this role?
Above all, I'm really interested in this sector. I'm also a highly reliable and professional person, and although I may not have all the experience requested, I am a quick learner and I'm keen to roll up my sleeves and get straight into action.
What were your last 3 jobs and why did you leave each one?
Here you need to explain what your last job roles were and which companies you worked for. While giving the reason why you left each job, try to make it sound as positive as possible. For example, you could say, "Unfortunately, the company was going through a restructural process due to financial problems. Therefore, I decided to look for another company which has a strong growth and solid prospects for the future."
Why should we choose you as opposed to another person?
Here you need to say something original which will make you stand out from all the other job candidates. For example, "If you take me on, I'm sure that it won't take long for me to produce interesting results for the company." You could also say, "If you ask my previous employer for a reference, I'm sure he'll provide you with a fairly impressive track record about the way in which I work."
What interests you most about this position?
What interests me most is the possibility to work for this company, which seems to be extremely well organized and productive. Furthermore, the job description inspires me a great deal.
What qualifications do you have for this role?
Well, apart from my degree in electronics engineering, I've also taken part in numerous managerial training programs, which have allowed me to acquire practical professional skills.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
I would like to think that after gaining some substantial experience within this company, that I'd be in charge of a team working on various international projects.
How do you feel about dealing with people from different levels within an organisation?
I have no problem whatsoever in communicating with all kinds of people, from the cleaning staff up to the managing director.
Is there anything you'd like to know about the job? Do you have any further questions?
Here, depending on what the interview has already told you during the interview, you could ask some different questions, such as these. Could you explain to me the reason why this job vacancy came up? How would you describe the team I'd be working with? How do you see the company's future? After answering those questions, John could then close the interview by saying something like this.
OK, Stephen, that's enough for the moment. We'll let you know. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, and I hope to hear from you again soon. Bye. So, these are some of the best ways to give good answers to typical interview questions. Good luck with the job hunting. And that's the end of this lesson. Now you can see if you've understood the video and do the test on Go Speak English. You can also watch many other English video lessons on Go Speak English. Thanks, and I hope to see you again soon.